The anti-Trump protests are going full tilt boogie. Last night, as I was taking an Uber home from the TV studios, this is around 7:30, 8 o'clock last night, we went down 13, turned left on Pennsylvania Avenue, and drove right in front of the new Trump Hotel, which I do almost every night. And out in front, there were, it looked to me, I mean, I was only there, I just basically drove by. I mean, we stopped at the light and then we drove by. So maybe I saw it for 3 minutes, 2 minutes. But it looked like there were almost two sets of protesters. There was one group that just didn't seem to be particularly organized. And there was one woman really, really loud standing on the street yelling, F Trump, only she was, you know, saying the word that I can't say on the air. And very loudly and repeatedly. And then right next to her and her group of supporters, it seemed, was another group that were holding, you know, printed signs. I mean, like as in print shop printed signs, professionally printed signs that said things like, you know, people are not illegal and, you know, immigration reform now, or things like that. I don't remember the exact phrases. And they were shouting and they were chanting, they go high, they go low, we go high. And I didn't know if they were chanting to try to shut up the woman who was yelling F Trump, or if they were protesting Trump. And it was interesting. We're going to have a protester on the program in about 5 minutes to talk about that. But anti-Trump protests were happening in New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Seattle. Danielle this morning put together a montage. Here are each of them. We'll leave my mic open, and I'll tell you as we change from city to city. We start out with New York. And now Chicago. And Seattle, Washington. And Philadelphia. So, you know, hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go, and not my president seem to be the main themes of these things. Very, very interesting stuff. Meanwhile, Mitch McConnell is pretending to, well, I don't know if pretending is the right word. Who knows who knows what evil lurks in the minds of Mitch McTurtle. But the media is widely quoting him as saying overreach would be a mistake. And they just take kind of the first half of the quote. The second half of the quote is where he basically, I think, says, you know, we're going to get some stuff done here, which scares, frankly, the hell out of me. But here is Mitch McConnell.
I think it's always a mistake to misread your mandate. And frequently, new majorities think it's going to be forever. Nothing is forever in this country. We have an election every 2 years, right on schedule. We have had since 1788. And so I don't think we should act as if we're going to be in the majority forever. We've been given a temporary lease on power, if you will, and I think we need to use it responsibly. I think what the American people are looking for is results. And to get results in the Senate, as all of you know, it requires some Democratic participation and cooperation. We were able to do that during the first Obama tenure in the deals, for example, that I negotiated with Biden on 3 different occasions. And we are going to be looking for bipartisan support. And I think overreaching after an election is, generally speaking, a mistake.
Now, people are, you know, the main media take on this is what he's saying is he's not going to blow up the filibuster. First of all, I don't know what 3 deals he's talking about that he negotiated with Biden. Maybe one was the sequester. I just don't know, frankly. But I wonder if the subtext to this, that he's saying, you know, we're not going to blow up the filibuster. We're going to allow Democrats to filibuster bad pieces of Republican legislation. I wonder if that is like his safety bumper against Donald Trump crazies, against Tea Party crazies. I mean, there is a major battle going on right now inside the Republican Party. And because the Republican Party has an analog. right? I mean, you could argue the Democratic Party has an analog. You got the official Democratic Party, and then you've got Occupy, and you've got, Black Lives Matter, and you've got a bunch of groups that kind of share general principles and come together, or at least parts of them come together under the umbrella or the rubric of the Democratic Party. But the Republican Party actually has a competitor that has also infiltrated the Republican Party, and that's the Koch network through all of their hundreds of front groups, most well known as Americans for Prosperity and Freedom Works, which is as well funded, as large, as well staffed, and as effective as the Republican Party. In fact, I would submit to you that look at the Senate race in New Hampshire. It was just called today. Kelly Ayotte lost her seat, the Republican, by just, a whisker. But it was 114 million, if I'm remembering my headline correctly. It was over $100 million campaign. I used to live in New Hampshire. I mean, when I lived there weren't even 1 million people in the state. I'm guessing it's grown now since because Boston has kind of extended, southern New Hampshire, parts of southern New Hampshire become basically bedroom communities of Boston. But, maybe 2 million people? I don't know. It's, the population of New Hampshire is small. It's small, small, small. And to spend over $100 million on a Senate campaign, where'd that money come from? We don't know because of Citizens United, but I'm guessing a lot of it came from the Koch network. I mean, they raised $700–800 million and threw most of it at senators. And I would say that if the Kochs were just to vanish and their network went away, Democrats would control the Senate right now, and probably the House, because the Koch network had, at least according to several of the stories I've read, I can't say this as an absolute fact, but I believe that the Koch network played a role in, if not supporting, then directly funding the whole campaign in 2008 to set the country up for gerrymandering in 2010, which locked down a Republican majority in the House of Representatives, even though the Democrats got 5 million more votes. Just like Democrats got more votes for president in both the case of Al Gore and the case of Donald Trump. So there is this shadow government functionally, or this shadow within the Tea Party. Jim DeMint and his buddies, and the Koch network, as part of the Koch network. He's running the Heritage Foundation, which long association with the Koch network. And the Tea Party is kind of like the part above the iceberg above the water is the visible part, but the invisible part is a deep government. There's a shadow government here. And the battle that's got to be going on right now is over the mind of Donald Trump. And I want to get into that in a little bit.